Hello everyone, welcome to the 17-Mile Story Collection. Today we'll dive into the Immortal Cultivation Diary of the Young Zhao Sr. He couldn't hold it in anymore. Zhao's son burst out laughing. With a bold grin, he grabbed the sword known as Great Fortune and spoke directly to it. "You're the one I choose. Just so you know, I'm broke if you break. Don't expect me to fix you." Sliding the sword into his storage pouch, Zhao's son stepped out of the Sword Spirit Pavilion. The once mocking fatty outside now looked nervous, as if startled by a winter chill. Gone was the arrogance. He bowed and stammered as Zhao passed. Zhao, unaware that his spiritual sense had been blocked inside, frowned slightly. Why the sudden change in attitude? Back at Master Nyodaju's herb garden, Zhao took out the sword. The old man's jaw dropped. "That sword. You really took Great Fortune?" Nyo muttered. After a long pause, he gave Zhao a meaningful look and said, "I saw that sword years ago, but didn't have the guts to carry it out. You do. Good. In 3 days, take it with you, let the Xiandao sect and your so-called elders see it with their own eyes." 3 days later, the bells of Penglai Pavilion rang out, 9 times in total, echoing through the mountains. The sect leader, along with every elder and their disciples, stood waiting outside the main hall. Suddenly, a black speck appeared in the sky. It grew larger and larger, until it revealed itself, a colossal centipede, over 300 feet long, pitch black, gliding atop storm clouds. Thunder cracked as it flew toward the mountain. Gasps filled the air. The inner disciples of Penglai Pavilion were visibly shaken. Some female disciples turned pale, trembling. "What's with all the panic?" barked a red-faced elder beside the sect master. "It may look terrifying, but if each of you stabbed it once, it'd die for sure." His voice was loud, deliberately so that the guests riding the beast could hear. Another elder muttered coldly, always putting on a show. "The Xiandao sect loves flexing that they've got a guardian beast while we don't. One day, I swear I'll kill that thing and shut them up for good." The sect master, calm and unreadable, suddenly let out a cold snort. A flash of violet light burst from him, a sword aura that shot skyward, then expanded and morphed into a massive purple dragon. It coiled above the mountain, roaring at the oncoming centipede. The giant insect screeched to a halt mid-air, clearly intimidated. Then a voice echoed from the centipede's back, a deep, amused laugh. "So it's the legendary violet moon sword, rumored to house a dragon soul. Seeing it now, the stories are true. Taoist Huanglong, the 20-year pact has come again. If we win this time, your Penglai Pavilion must keep its promise, return the 137 magical artifacts you stole from us, and offer 200 flying swords as compensation." The sect master, Huanglong, remained unfazed. He replied calmly, "Taoist Ouyang, if your sect wins, we'll honor the deal. But if you lose, don't forget, you owe us your beast taming technique. Don't try to back out." As he spoke, the violet dragon dissolved, shrinking back into a sword that returned neatly to his hand. The wind whispered through the clouds, as a massive 1,000-legged centipede descended slowly from the heavens. It circled once above Penglai Pavilion, casting a vast shadow over the mountain gates. The disciples below instinctively backed away, leaving a wide, open space. On the terrace, the elders frowned, eyes sharp with silent reprimand. When the creature finally touched the ground, it stilled. Then whoosh, 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 dozens of figures leapt down from its back. Aside from 3 elders, all were young men and women, each dressed in striking purple robes, a deliberate provocation. Everyone knew Penglai Pavilion had few who could wear that color. But what truly stunned the crowd was their beauty. Every one of them, male or female, was breathtaking. The men graceful yet powerful, the women dazzling like blooming flowers. At the front stood a pair, a man and a woman. The man's aura was heroic and commanding. His long hair fluttered, his sword tassel swayed. A figure of pure vigor and poise. Several female disciples couldn't help but gaze at him, utterly entranced. And beside him, the woman, dressed in purple, her beauty almost unreal. Her phoenix eyes shimmered, her lips curved with subtle allure. Even Wan Lin felt his heart quicken, forcing himself to look away. Then suddenly, a harsh voice thundered, "Since when has the Xiandao sect stooped to such lowly charm techniques?" The disciples jolted back to their senses, faces flushing with shame. One of the visiting elders burst out laughing. That must be Dao Su. I am Qin Gulei. Take a closer look, my friend. My disciples practice no charm techniques. They were simply born with pure water spirit roots. It's no surprise you mistook their natural aura for sorcery. The elders of Penglai Pavilion exchanged uneasy glances. At last, Master Huang Long, the pavilion's head, spoke smoothly. Honored guests of Xiandao sect, please rest within our halls. In 3 days, we shall begin the formal exchange. Elder Ouyang nodded with a warm smile. Excellent. Our sects have long been allies. Let's not let rivalry sour our friendship. Then an old man stepped forward from the Penglai side, smiling faintly. Ouyang, old friend, 20 years, and you still remember me? Ouyang laughed heartily. Song. I've been dreaming of your wine ever since last time. You only gave me 1 jar, stingy as ever. Song chuckled. Not stingy, cautious. You drink like a whale, my friend. Laughter filled the air again. The elders shared stories of the cultivation world, their disciples listening wide-eyed in awe. And though the atmosphere softened, everyone knew the true contest between Penglai Pavilion and Xiandao sect was only about to begin. In the world of cultivation, gossip travels faster than flying swords. They say a disciple from Wufeng Valley seduced the sect master's daughter of Misty Cloud sect. Not only did she fall for him, she even got pregnant. The Misty sect master stormed into Wufeng Valley demanding justice, and left, holding only a baby. Then came another rumor. A heavenly treasure had appeared, and every sect was secretly moving to seize it. Soon after, word spread again. The Misty sect's grand elder, Real Man Wu Wei, a powerful core formation cultivator, would be celebrating his upcoming birthday. All allied sects were already sending gifts and envoys. The elders of Xiandao sect and Penglai Pavilion chatted and laughed about such stories, while their disciples listened wide-eyed, finally catching a glimpse of how chaotic the cultivation world of Qin truly was. Among them sat Zhao Sen, quietly observing. Just then, he felt a gaze upon him. He turned his head. It was the girl with the pure water spirit root, and she was smiling, softly, mysteriously. Zhao Sen gave a polite nod, but inside his guard was up. He knew he wasn't nearly charming enough to draw such attention. Her name was Mu Zi. She was born with an enchanting aura. Not a charm spell, but a natural allure few could resist. In her sect, even those of higher cultivation often found it hard to stay clear-headed before her. Yet this seemingly ordinary youth was the first to awaken from her charm unaided. That surprised her. She couldn't help glancing at him a few more times. Still, he was only at the 3rd layer of qi condensation, nothing special, at least on the surface. Meanwhile, both sects' disciples were studying each other carefully. The Xiandao group's cultivation was unreadable, as though veiled by mist. Zhao Sen noticed this. Realizing their concealment art far surpassed ordinary hidden spirit techniques. While most Penglai disciples focused on the handsome pair at the front, Zhao Sen saw something strange. The Xiandao disciples would occasionally glance, with quiet respect, toward a middle-aged man standing at the back. Zhao Sen frowned slightly. That man. He's the one truly worth watching. He looked away, saying nothing. Xiandao's disciples continued their own observations. Those in black robes around the 6th layer of qi condensation drew their main attention. Zhao Sen, on the other hand, was overlooked entirely. Only Mu Zi seemed faintly curious about him. The elders talked and laughed, but behind the smiles, they watched every move. The 3 elders from Xiandao grew increasingly pleased. If these are Penglai's best, they thought, then victory will be ours. But they also knew Penglai Pavilion was cunning. Their true aces only appeared at the final moment. And this time, the familiar faces from the last exchange were nowhere to be seen. The air above the courtyard was still, but beneath it, tension quietly brewed. Master Huang Long, head of Penglai Pavilion, swept his gaze across the disciples of Xiandao sect. His eyes lingered on 2 of them, a man and a woman, both born with pure water spirit roots. He sighed inwardly. 500 years. Has Penglai truly fallen so far? Once glorious, now fading. Even the once obscure Xian Dao sect had surpassed them again and again. He had believed this exchange would be a sure victory. But with two prodigies like that on the opposing side, unease began to creep into his heart. Must I send out the core disciples in purple? But they're in closed-door seclusion. Then his gaze fell upon a quiet figure, standing at the very back of the Xian Dao group. His expression changed slightly. He had sensed something. After a long pause, determination flashed in his eyes. So be it. If they bring out such disciples, then Peng Lai's hidden cards must also enter the game. He smiled calmly, voice warm and polite. Elder Ouyang, your disciples have traveled far. Let them rest first. We old men should catch up inside the hall. Please this way. Ouyang nodded, smiling. The three elders of Xian Dao followed him into the great hall. The elders of Peng Lai Pavilion trailed behind. The last among them, Elder Dao Xian, turned and called out, Zhao Bu, you'll host the guests from Xian Dao sect. If anything goes wrong, you'll answer to me. Zhao Bu bowed quickly. Yes, master. I'll treat our guests with the utmost care. Dao Xian smiled at the visiting disciples. If you need anything, speak to Wang Zhua. I'm too old for young people's company, but the future of the cultivation world belongs to you. And with that, he entered the hall. The moment the elders were gone, the tension lifted. Several female disciples from Hung Yue's sect rushed to the handsome young man with the water spirit root, their laughter light and charming. Others began mingling, trading insights and experiences. Some gathered around the giant centipede, marveling at its scales and aura. But Zhao Sun, as always, kept to himself. He walked to a quiet corner, sat on the stone steps, and gazed at the blue sky, basking in the sun, utterly at peace. In the noisy courtyard, he was an island of calm. From afar, a young woman surnamed Zhou noticed him. She smiled gently and walked over, sitting down beside him without hesitation. Junior brother Zhao, she said softly, I've been meaning to congratulate you. Reaching the third layer of qi condensation is no small feat. Few in the inner sect train as diligently as you. Sunlight bathed them both, while others talked and laughed. The two sat quietly in the corner, a rare stillness amid the storm to come. Zhao Sun chuckled lightly and shook his head. It's not like that. Most people are devoted to their training. Sister Zhou stared at the drifting clouds and sighed softly. Junior brother Zhao, don't be modest. During those 4 years in the back mountain when we were sequestered, most teammates often came out. I rarely saw you. Cultivation is tedious, yet you persisted, reaching the third layer in 4 years. I truly admire your perseverance. Zhao Sun scratched his nose and replied with a modest smile, Sister Zhou, you reached the third layer as well. Her expression grew wistful. I reached it 3 years ago, but since then many who were inferior to me have surpassed me. Perhaps I cannot cut the ties to the mortal world. Zhao Sun was quiet for a moment. The Tao is heartless. If you want to advance, those mortal fetters must be severed. Zhou turned to him, her eyes bright and earnest. Junior brother Zhao, you're at the peak of the third layer. You could break through any time. Soon you'll leave me behind. Zhao Sun smiled wryly. I can't break through quickly. Those attachments can't be severed on a whim. My parents have grown old. Filial piety isn't something I can abandon. Zhou hesitated, then asked gently, what is it you can't cut? Zhao Sun didn't answer. The image of his parents' aged faces rose in his mind, filial duty, unspoken and immovable. Zhou lowered her voice. I can't cut family ties either. This path is too brutal. Maybe I'm not meant for it. Before they could say more, Zhao Sun sensed a change. From across the square, Zhao Bu's gaze was cold and venomous as he stared at the two of them. Soon Zhao Bu strode forward and announced loudly to the Xian Dao disciples, this centipede eats live prey. For the next few days, feeding it while you stay at Peng Lai Pavilion, leave it to us. I have a junior brother who's perfect for handling wild beasts. Since you're our guests, the menial work will be ours to carry. Mu, the water-rooted youth, frowned. Brother Zhao Bu, the centipede is untamed. If strangers feed it, there could be danger. Zhao Bu's smile was warm, but his words carried an edge. Nonsense. Cultivators don't flinch from danger. Your honored guests, let Penglai Pavilion handle these menial tasks. Several inner disciples echoed him. The Xian Dao students hesitated. Mu was about to decline on behalf of his elders when the middle-aged man at the back cleared his throat. At that sound, Mu's face shifted and he bowed. If that's the case, we'll trouble you. Zhao Bu's smile widened. He turned toward Zhao Sen and called out loudly, Junior brother Zhao, feeding the centipede is yours. Be careful not to get bitten. At that, every Xian Dao disciple looked at Zhao Sen with mocking eyes. They all knew the meaning. Zhao Sen had once again drawn Zhao Bu's ire. Penglai disciples jeered, so it is him, the waist fits this job perfectly. With his talent, cultivation is wasted on him. He'll never be chosen to compete. The insults pierced the air. In their eyes, Zhao Sen had already been branded useless. Sister Zhou frowned, murmuring, if I hadn't come over, he wouldn't have singled you out. Zhao Sen shook his head calmly. He knew Zhao Bu had been mocking him since their first meeting. Rumors and past scandals made factions despise him. And the worst truth was, he was only at the third layer of qi condensation, the lowest among the inner disciples. Strength decided everything. Before long, Zhao Bu led the Xian Dao disciples away to rest. Before leaving, Mu turned and warned Zhao Sen gently, this centipede is untamed. Keep your distance while feeding it. Don't get too close. Zhao Bu sneered once more, and the square emptied. Sister Zhou stood and said a few parting words. Pity lined her brow. Zhao Sen watched the clearing plaza, then rose and approached the centipede. He stopped about 10 zhang away and studied the beast. Every carapace segment looked razor-sharp, and its low, guttural growl hinted it could erupt at any moment. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please leave a comment, give it a like, and share it with others. Your support gives me even more motivation.